Hey guys, this is Jerry. Since the release of Secrets of Power, I've seen some community posts and discussions regarding the state of the game. But a recent bail shot video is what spurred me to make this video. So I'm finally making this video sharing some scraped melee data. All of my code, the scraped data, and the charts generated from them are on my GitHub repo. Feel free to go take a look, and if you find an error, please let me know. This video will be me going over the data and sharing my thoughts on the state of the game. So let's open it up. So here's a weekly chart, but let me give some context and caveats. The x-axis are labeled in 2 weeks increments, but the data points are on a weekly basis. The orange line is the number of unique players, and the blue line is basically the participation number. So if a player plays 3 times a week, they count as 1 in the orange line, but 3 in the blue line. Also, disregard the leftish September 2024 period data, as it was a transitory period for stores to move from tech, which is the prior event software, to melee. This data was scraped on December 3rd, so disregard the rightmost data point as it's incomplete. All right, let's take a look at data. So each of these peaks correspond to a set's release. So there's Twilight of the Republic, Jump to Lightspeed, Legends of the Force, and Secrets of Power. Here we can see a player count peak of 18k during Legend of the Force. Secrets pre-release and release numbers are pretty comparable to Twilight's pre-release and release numbers. However, if we take a look at the next following 3 data points, they're a bit lower than Twilight's, which is a bit unfortunate given that Twilight is often regarded as the worst set. So why is the player base size lowish right now? I could think of a few potential factors. Internally, players may be wary of the upcoming rotation. Externally, Riftbound's release basically coincided with Secrets, and there may also be macroeconomic conditions to consider. So to answer the question, is the game dying? Dying is a pretty strong word, but it appears to be on the decline. But that also brings up another question of what is a healthy player base size? Is 6 to 7-ish K players sustainable for a TCG? I don't know the answer to that, but we can take a look at Lorcana as a point of comparison. As for a period of time, Lorcana or Melee was the event software for Lorcana. Um, of course, the numbers are going to be different considering that Lorcana is going to be pretty much up there alongside like One Piece right after like the big three, the TCG. Again, some context to the chart. I don't play the game, but based on some quick research, it seems that there was a transition period to Ravensburger Play Hub, which is their new event software that happened around July of 2025. So I would probably ignore like the data points around this time frame. Keep in mind that this is old data. I have no clue on the state of the game is right now. We are just purely just comparing based off player base size. So with that in mind, let's take a look at data. Let me pull down the Star Wars. Okay. So my first impression when looking at this is that the lines are a lot more erratic compared to Star Wars. There's a peak player count of 21k compared to Star Wars 18k. So that's a difference about 16%, which isn't that bad. However, Lorcana has a lot more peaks. They also have a much higher consistent player base number of around 10 to 13k if we ignore some of these like low points. Star Wars has a player base size of around 6 and then maybe like 8ish k here, which is a difference of like 16, which is a difference of like 65%, which is a pretty big gap. Um, I also have monthly charts and daily charts if you want to go take a look for both Star Wars and Lorcana. I do think Secrets is a better set than Twilight based on power level and the meta viability aspect. So I'm expecting the player base size to stabilize to at least Twilight's numbers, but that's assuming there are no external influences. We'll just need to wait for more data to see if that happens or not. Unrelated to all that, these are my thoughts on the state of the game. I think something with the regular or carbonite boxes needs to change. Box prices free falling this soon after release is not a good sign. They're very much below their MSRP pricing. I know there is a upcoming change regarding boosters, so we'll see what changes they'll make during that live stream. And this also goes without saying, but they really need to handle rotation well. And hopefully, Eternal isn't an afterthought, personally speaking. Um, but yeah. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.